good. I believe everybody that's in here can hear me, so that's good. So I got to do a little bookkeeping here, and then we'll get going. Hope everybody, all your friends, your families, everybody is safe. Okay, excuse me. Anyway, so first off, I realize that some of you guys may be severely stressed out. You may not be living where you normally live. You may be, financial problems because you're not able to work. All sorts of terrible stuff could be going on. So I think first off, I'd just like to give anyone that wants to say anything about that uh, to have the floor. But if you would please raise your hand first. Okay. I'm not seeing anybody, but as we go on, if you're stressing about this stuff, you guys all know each other by this point. We've all been together in the class for quite a while. So, this is a little bit of an extension of your group. So you should use that because it's certainly understandable if you are having those concerns. So anyway, we'll get some other stuff out of the way here now. Excuse me. So I think let's see. I am recording this session. So if you need to come back to it, you can. I'll explain how to do that later. I am seeing who's here. The school still expects us to know who's attending. So, and I'm going to be running that list against the roles for the class. Anybody that's not making it in, I'll be contacting them to see if what their circumstances are. So anyway, I think the first thing we ought to do to sort of keep some things normal is I'm going to share my screen and we'll take a look at Blackboard to see what I am not thinking of. Okay, so there's Blackboard, and then don't want that one. Okay, here we go. So there's Blackboard like we normally would do. I'll click on announcements and run it back to what is probably the first of it. So, okay, you guys obviously got this one down, how to get back into the class here using Collaborate. So hopefully that went well for you when you're here. Then we'll be going into the worksheet for, let's see, this is the second worksheet of Chapter 14, Part A. So if possible, you want to print it. Anybody that can't print it, shoot me an email and I'll see if I can come up with another option for you. But we will be doing that worksheet on Wednesday. Then all the sapling assignments, I moved them out on their due dates to April 3rd. And then I haven't quite worked that out yet as to how that's going to be. So right now that just gives us some time so no one's sweating getting those things done. And then as far as office hours goes, for the remainder of the semester, the office hours are going to still be at the same originally scheduled times. I'll show you what those are here in just a minute, but it's going to be using Collaborate. Now, since I'm teaching two sections of classes, the Collaborate room that we're in right now is not the same one for my other two classes. So I'm going to have to pick one, use that for office hours, and then anybody that's from another class is going to have to get an invitation into that Collaborate room. So I would send you a link to get you in. And then in order to make that work, you need to give me like a 30-minute or more before that email, so I know that you're wanting to do that, so I can get you the link so you can get into the room. So hopefully that's clear with everybody. I'm going to drop this down a second and see if anybody has a question about anything that I just said. So has anybody got a question? Raise your hand, please. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen again. We'll talk about some more stuff. So going back to Blackboard, I hope nothing too bad pops up on my screen while we're doing this. Anyway, we're going to be doing a lab today. So let's click on that for a second, just so you can see what's going to happen there. So the labs are going to be just like they were before this all hit. You're going to go into lab reports and you click on the title there. And then yours is going to look different. You're not going to see all these other labs, but you're going to be doing this one, alternative exercise equilibrium simulation. So you click on that, and then you'd be doing a group lab report, just like you guys did for the previous labs. So all the labs are going to be virtual simulations of labs. This first one's not too great, but they'll get better for the other ones. But I'm just trying to keep with something simple since we're all just coming back into this thing. And then what I anticipate to be oh yeah, one more thing. If you look at task, I got rid of everything that's no longer really relevant because everything changed. So there's a lot of stuff that's not on here. And I'll start filling this back in as I figure out when we're doing things. The only thing I can say for definite is we'll have a final exam on Monday, May 11th. But between now and then, I still have to figure that one out. So this will gradually get filled in as I can figure out what we're going to be doing. But I took out all the stuff that really is not pertinent. So, so the last thing I want to talk about is exams, such as the final. So we're no longer going to be doing the ACS final exam. They will not allow us to do that online. It's copyrighted, and the only way they'll do it is if we spend more money, and we're just not going to do that. So the way our exams are going to be handled is they are going to be inside a sapling. But before you start to panic or anything on that, the questions that I'm going to use, I'm going to make those up. They're not going to be the sapling homework questions that you may have, fought with a little bit. So, so anyway, the exam, like the exam we had coming up before all this hit, we're still going to use that same exam. It's one that I've written. So it'll be like the two that you've done previously, except you will be answering it inside of sapling. So I'm still, it takes a little while to get the questions in. So I'm still putting those in. After I get all those in, then I'll set up a time as to when we're going to do it. And I'll give you plenty of warning. It won't just be like tomorrow or anything crazy like that. So anyhow, so again, does anybody have a question about labs or exams or anything else? Just raise your hand, please. Hey, Noah, you can just do your microphone. Tell us what you got on your mind.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, do you require cameras for exams?
No. No,
Okay.
you can be setting up the whole house full.
Okay.
All your older siblings that have already been through this, yeah, they can be right there next to you. I don't know, man. No, that's just too awkward. I looked into the thing. You guys got an invitation for Top Hat, and go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but for now, I don't think we're going to actually use it. But it is the one that would use a camera, and I don't know how that works. But anyway, we're not going to do that. So no camera needed. You can just use your icon. Okay, thank you, Noah. Anyone else got a question about any of this stuff? Raise your hand. Hi, Rain. You can talk on your microphone or whatever you want to do, or you can chat.
Hey, when you said you extend all the homeworks, that's all the homeworks from the beginning of the semester, or only the recent ones?
Uh, let's see. Everything that was previous, I can't change. The upcoming homework has all been pushed out to at least this Friday, if not beyond that.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make okay? Good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else, please? Raise your hand. Yeah, Mohammed, what's up? You can
Are
chat it. Or,
the are the classes gonna be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or are they gonna be like every day?
no, they're going to be the same schedule. So we'll be doing it 9 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
All right.
Okay. I hope that's not a problem for anybody in here. I realize your schedules may have gotten blown up from this. So if you're seeing a scheduling problem, please send me an email. I'll see if I can figure out what to do with that. Anybody else got a question? Okay, you don't have Adobe Flash. I think we'll have to work on getting that. It shouldn't cost you anything. It should be a free download. Um, the only thing is if you're doing this on something besides a computer, like if you're trying to use a tablet or your phone, if I remember right, Apple doesn't like Adobe, so therefore they haven't made it easy to do. So I'll tell you what, if you're trying to do this without a computer, please send me an email and let me know. I am going to see if I can find a solution for you. So if you don't have a computer and you're trying to do this with your phone or or a tablet, please let me know and we'll see what we can figure out. Okay. Um, Anybody else got a question? Raise your hand, please. Okay, so if anyone gets a question while we're doing other things, do the hand raise. Hopefully, I'll see it through everything else. So now we're going to be moving on to doing the lab, but first I want to see who's in here because I'm putting you guys into your lab groups. So groups 1 through 6, I'm putting you into those, and then you'll be able to chat with each other without the whole room hearing what you're saying. And I believe that you'll be able to actually talk. That's what I should say. And then I think if you send a chat message, you can keep the chat message within your group instead of it going to the whole room. But I need to check and see who has come in since I was putting the list together. So that'll take a moment. Okay. Sorry, I got one person here. I don't remember which group you're in. Oh, yeah. Okay, I should have known that. Okay. Okay, I think I got everybody in their appropriate groups, but I'm not going to start that up quite yet. I'll go ahead and leave you all here in the main room for now. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing for the lab. I'm going to go back to the sharing my screen with you. Okay, you should be seeing now my Blackboard screen. And I'm going to go into course materials. So I'm over here on the left, clicking on course materials like we've been doing all semester. And then I'm going to go down to where it says lab reports. So I'm clicking there. And then, and the only one you should see when you go there is this alternative exercise equilibrium simulation. So I'm going to click on that. And you're going to see what we've had before for lab reports. The report's going to be due a week from today. It's worth 100. There is a rubric as far as what should be in the report. You follow the instructions in equilibrium simulation. Those are down here, but I'm going to show them to you here in just a second. And then you can go to the simulation either from the link that says link to simulation, or when you open up the PDF file for equilibrium simulation, the link is there too. So in your report, you're going to have a title, a date, who your lab partners are. Then you're going to have a data table for the equilibrium hydrogen plus iodine producing hydrogen iodide. And then you're going to go back to the same thing for nitrogen dioxide in equilibrium with dinitrogen tetroxide. And you're going to set these up where you start the equilibrium with 50% of the molecules as reactants, which of course means 50% of them are going to be products. And then you start it up and you'll watch it run and make some observations of that. The next time you're going to start out with 0% reactants. So that means you're starting with 100% product. Now, you know it's an equilibrium, so it's going to convert some of that product back into the reactant after equilibrium is achieved. So it's going to start out with the initial condition that you're giving it, and then it's going to finally go till it hits equilibrium. And then the last setup is going to be where you're going to have 100% of the molecules are reactants and 0 of those are going to be products, and you'll start it up. And so it's going to start taking the reactants and making products, and then it'll eventually achieve equilibrium, and you'll have some number of those that are going to remain reactants, and some that are going to become products. And then you'll have your section called comments. So similar to what we've done before. So now I think I'll just keep going. Sorry about the airplane there. Next thing is the instructions. So if I clicked on the link back over here where it says equilibrium simulation, I would get the instructions. So equilibrium simulation, you're going to go to this URL. This is clickable within the PDF. You should look at what's called the introduction and the how-to tabs in the simulation. Then you click on the tab that's called interactive. And then there's some sliders that you can move around to set it up to where you've got 50% reactants and 50% products. Now, actually, when you first start this thing, it's going to be 50-50. But just make sure that it actually is. And then you're going to, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, got that out of order. First thing, you got to pick the right reaction. Then you make sure it's 50-50, like we were saying. Then the forward rate constant should be 0.9. The reverse rate constant should be 0.4, which is what it should default to when you start this. And then it's going to show you the value of the equilibrium constant, K. So you want to record that. And then you're going to see values for reaction quotient. Now that's going to change as the reaction continues. Remember, reaction quotient is the same equation as equilibrium constant. It's the products over the reactants. But for reaction quotient, it's going to be what is the number at any point in time. But the equilibrium constant doesn't change. It stays the same. It's a constant. But the reaction quotient is going to change. And then finally, when you get to equilibrium, the reaction quotient will be the same value almost as the equilibrium constant. So you're going to want to be, recording those reaction quotients at various points in time. To make the simulation go, you click on Start. You record your observations of the concentrations and reaction rates windows. And then when you're done with that, when you click on Reset and you're ready to go to the next reaction, well, the different conditions, that is. And so you're going to do it where you have 100% reactants and no products, and then you're going to do it the other way around, and then you're going to switch reactions. So hopefully that will become more clear when you start doing it. Now here's what the simulation looks like. So in our initial thing we're seeing here, this is for automobiles in 2 parking lots. And we're trying to balance out the 2 parking lots. So right now it's starting with 10 cars in the left hand and 10 cars in the right hand. Those are representing molecules. And then your rate constants have the same value, 0.5 and 0.5. So both 0.5, then the equilibrium constant is 1, and to begin with, it's 1. Now I'll click on Start, and you can see that some cars are moving to the right side, some are moving to the left side, because even though we're at equilibrium, both the forward reaction and the reverse reactions are still happening. But we're already at equilibrium, so the total, 10 on one side, 10 on the other, doesn't change. Okay, I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to reset it. And now let's see what happens if instead we've got all the cars on the left side, all the molecules on the left side, and there's none on the right side. And then I'll start the reaction. It's going to move cars from the left side over to the right side. And you can see, I'm going to pause it for a second. You can see that since we started with all the cars on the left side, it started out all the way to the top. It's moving down until it hits the equilibrium. You can see here, this is the concentration decreasing on that side. Then on the right-hand side, the red side, you started out with concentration 0, but it's moving upward. And eventually you're going to achieve equilibrium. Let's let it go some more. So you can stop this thing anytime you want. Now, it's almost equal now, because our equilibrium constant is 1, means we should have the same amount on both sides at equilibrium. I'll let it go a little bit longer now, and finally our reaction quotient is going to hit 1, or at least it's going to get very close. It's 0.97, 0.98, 0.99, and that may be as close as it. Oh, there it hit 1. Okay, so now you can see that our concentrations are equivalent to each other. Now, if I wanted to do this a little bit differently, let's put everything back where we began, except now let's change the forward rate. We'll make it maybe 0.8, and then we'll make the reverse, say, 0.2. So now the value of our equilibrium constant changed. It's now 4 instead of 1. But we're starting with half of them on one side, half of them on the other. Could start the reaction, or the moving of the cars, and the amount of the cars on the red side has to go up. That's because it's got a faster rate. And the ones on the blue side they're going to go down until you achieve equilibrium, and we have hit equilibrium now. So the value of our Q is approximately the same as the value of our K. So anyway, this is the way this is going to run. Do take a look at the introduction here. It tells you how this works. Click on the how to, although I think you probably got it since I just showed you how to do it. The actual activity is where it says interactive. Okay. I'm going to minimize that, and I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to ask if anybody has a question, raise your hand. Okay, you guys are either asleep or you have no questions, and I don't know the difference. Okay, so now I want to see where we're at with our groups. Looks like everybody in the room is in their group. So what I'm going to do, I've not tried this before, so I have no idea how it's really going to work. But anyhow, I'm going to hit the start button. That's going to move you from the main room into your groups. And then you should be able to chat with each other and also talk to each other. So once I do that, you can open your mics, however you want to discuss it. Figure out how you're going to do this. And then if you, while you're doing it, you have a question, you can always get back to me. Probably the best way is to chat to me so that not everybody's getting hit with that. So here we go. I'm going to hit the start button for your groups. So everybody should be in their groups. I'm going to mute.